My name is Debbie Travis. I was born in Reading in England. I am a television host, a television producer, an author and a syndicated columnist. Perfect happiness, I would say, is being in a Tuscan farmhouse, surrounded by your best friends and your family. I think my greatest fear is that the bubble will burst. Everything's pretty good. When I was 12, my father died, and then my mother died when I was in my 20s. And I think when my father died, I was at such a sensitive age. I'm always terrified you're going to get that phone call. You know, somebody's come off their bike, or, you know, that'll just, because nothing's worth it if anything's gone wrong with the family. So, you know, I never really celebrate too much that things are good, because I'm a bit of a doom and gloom kind of person. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous. It's my very best friend, Jackie. I met her in Tokyo when we were models, when we were 17. If my kids went off to Japan just like that, you know, my mother didn't even call. I just went, and I was living on the other side of the world. And I ended up living with this girl who we're best friends today, 30 odd years later. And everything she does, I just think she does it way better than me. I'm more successful, but she's just who I'd like to be when I grow up. The thing I most dislike about myself is I'm incredibly impatient. I move very, very fast. My mind is always whirling. And I guess it's being impatient that people who are working with you sometimes can't mind read and can't understand what I'm thinking. You know, I'll walk into a room going, right, yes, we've done it, and everybody's going, what did she say? I think it's that quickness. If you can't keep up, it's kind of tough. So I'm sometimes a bit too impatient. I dislike in other people procrastination, because I just do it, I just move. And meetings that go on for years, you know, the same group of people who turn up and never actually do anything. And I don't like mundaneness. I'm very frightened of the ordinary. I come from an ordinary small village where if you didn't marry somebody by the time you were 18 from that village, you were thought to be a bit odd. So mundaneness kind of scares me, actually. I'm always frightened I'll end up back in Blackburn, Lancashire, drinking. What do I find excessive? I love to chat, I love to talk, and I think even though talking has probably been part of my success, it's also got me into a lot of trouble. I'm sometimes a great interview because I'll chat away, but in other times I completely get taken out of context all the time, and I'll say things like, people will say something like, what do you think of Martha Stewart? And well, I think blah, blah, blah. You know, what do you think of Paris Hilton? Well, I think Paris, you know, completely wrong, and I would, you know, smack her around the head and blah, blah. See, I'm doing it now. And of course, Debbie would smack Paris Hilton around the head. You know, I'm always taken out of context because I talk too much. And my grandma used to say to me, who actually is my other idol, but my grandma used to say, you know what, your mouth is going to get you into so much trouble. I think the most overrated virtue, which maybe is a bit of a Canadian thing, is correctness. I come from an extremely verbal country. We're not the most physical people, but if you look at all the TV shows today, you know, who are the bad guys? The Simon Cowells, I mean, the dancing show, the talent show, they always have the Brit, you know, who will say what they think, because we're brought up like that. We say what we think, especially where I'm from, which is the north of England. So I think very often over-correctness, being over-polite, doesn't actually do any good. People who work with me know that if I go, oh my God, you did such an amazing job, I really mean it. Because I don't pat everybody on the back every 2 seconds, because I don't see the point. I don't really care about money. I don't care about what life has given me. What I care about is lying in bed going, what am I doing today? And, you know, if my whole day was filled around going to the dry cleaners and getting a manicure, I'd go nuts. I would probably be a bitter, wizened old person. I once said to a girlfriend when I was absolutely frantic and busy, and I said, you know, I'd just love to buy a farm somewhere. She said, Debbie, if you bought a farm, the next minute you'd be selling apples on the side of the road, you know. I see opportunities everywhere, and I just, to not have anything to do all day, I think I get the most satisfaction if the kids are happy. I mean, that's all that really matters. If they're alive and they're safe and they're having a good time and they're not locked in their room, I'm happy. I feel safe at home. I love home, I always have. You know, even at 4 o'clock in the morning, sitting on the stairs going, this is mine. We've created it. We started with absolutely nothing, and I don't have a flashy home. I have a beautiful home. But when that front door's shut at night and everybody's safe, everybody's there, I feel everybody's in their place, safe and secure. Well, I wear my grandma's ring, and she had that through 2 world wars, and ever since, there's 3 girls in my family and a boy. And as little girls, we'd say, Granny, when you die, can I have that one? Can I have that one? Well, of course, I got the biggest one. You constantly rub it, and she used to rub it. So I would say that's my most treasured possession. I think if the house was on fire, I'd go and get the photo albums, because I have a terrible memory. It's like, who are you again? My mum, your son. Okay, got it. So it's the only way I remember stuff is by flicking through albums. Oh, anything like a lawyer or in an office, or anything like a vet. All the things that people want to do. I mean, somebody bringing in their little pussy and saying, oh yeah, I'll make it. I mean, like me, I don't have the patience. I would say something mean, but no, you know what? Anything really crammed into an office every day and doing the same old thing. I'd say my ambition when I was a child was to get out of a small town. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just wanted to get to the city lights. Well, without sounding like a beauty queen, I think to give every child a great childhood. I had an amazing childhood, not as a teenager, but as a child. And I think every kid deserves to be happy as a child. I think I'm in a constant whirl of panic, of like, where am I going now? Where am I, you know, excitement and overwhelmed. Is to buy a house in Italy. I go every summer. I spent most of my summers driving around while everybody else is having a good time, trying to find the perfect paradise. And I've dreamt and thought about this for 10 years. I like the people. I like being around the people. I like the landscape, and the homes are just spectacular. And what makes Tuscany so unique, that they've never built there. They haven't built for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's as it was maybe 300 or 400 years ago. But I would like to find an old convent, and I'd like to turn it into a retreat. I'd like somewhere where people can come and just understand that lifestyle. I have a couple of mottos. I guess the one from where I come from, that northern town, would be, you know, pull up your socks and just get on with it, because they don't have time or sympathy for anything. But I think today I would say life is good, and while it's so good, just enjoy every minute of it.